Hello, I'm a professional mermaid, and if you want to be one too, keep watching because I'm going to share some tips, and I'm also going to share with you some resources along with doing an unboxing of an exciting mermaid related product. Let's dive in. What is a professional mermaid, you might ask? A professional mermaid is another type of performer where you wear a swimmable mermaid tail. Usually they're pretty realistic, and you basically just entertain people at kids parties and events. You might go to festivals and bring a little mermaid magic. For little kids, they might actually think you're a real mermaid, and it's just you provide a very fun, magical experience. You can be a professional mermaid who does gigs in pools where you swim around, you do tricks, you splash your tail, and you entertain the kids. You might sing little songs or play games like with a beach ball, or maybe you have some dive toys or little mermaid toys or fishy toys or rubber ducks, little things like that. You can also do things like give kids temporary tattoos or face paint. I've incorporated juggling into my act, singing, kids love music. Sing simple songs like Baby Shark or If You're Happy and You Know It, and then you might change the words to If You're Happy and You Know It, Make a Splash, if they're in a pool at least. You gotta get creative with it. So I make $250 an hour when I do a mermaid gig. This is under my own business, Mermaid Live Entertainment. And that sounds like a lot of money, but there's also a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into becoming a professional mermaid. It requires intense training, a lot of years of experience with kids, the ability to do public speaking and improv acting. It's physically taxing. Plus you gotta spend money on a good tail, which can be a couple $100s, and there's tops and accessories and other things. You might have an LLC or pay for your own website, or spend money on gas driving to gigs. So yeah, those are some of the basic things to know. But let's get into some steps. First, you need to get some mermaid experience. This includes having a good quality mermaid tail that you learn how to swim in and how to be comfortable in. Some people are uncomfortable in mermaid tails because your legs are confined for could be an hour or more. So if you're claustrophobic, you might not like mermaiding. You want to learn how to swim in a tail, which you need to be a good swimmer to put on a mermaid tail and get in the water, because people have drowned in mermaid tails. To swim as a mermaid, you need a monofin in your tail, which is very, very important. You can't swim on a tail without a monofin. You need the propulsion. My first monofin was a Finnis Wave. They're a very reputable company. And for a mermaid tail, you also need to make sure it's a reputable company. Don't just get one from Shein or Temu or Wish.com. Those are not good. They steal art, they're low quality, and they come with these makeshift monofins that just aren't safe. Like, they will take a pair of basically Dollar Tree flippers and attach them together, and it's not good, and they break easily. Some companies I recommend are FinFun, FinFolk, Mertailor, Mermaid Linden, Mermaid Cat, Suntail Mermaids, and Magic Tail Mermaids, which is one of my favorite companies. So get a good tail, learn how to swim in it, master the art of mermaiding, and then you want to learn some other skills like how to pose, how to look like a pretty graceful mermaid when you're in your tail. You want to point your toes when you're sitting so that your fin is flat on the ground rather than just sticking up, because that looks the most realistic when the fin is just flat against the ground. You always want to have good posture. You want to make eye contact with people, have a pleasant smile. Then there's you could call it princess hands, which you'll see Disney princesses will always have dainty, kind of pointed fingers like that. And you might kind of sit like this. So you want to get comfortable doing that. I recommend practicing stuff on camera, because then you can see how it looks. And that's basically how I got my first experience, was just playing mermaid in my room, wearing a mermaid tail, dancing around and posing, taking cool pictures for Instagram, just having fun, pretending I had an audience. Then there's also some certifications that are helpful to get when becoming a professional mermaid, such as CPR, lifeguard, scuba, free dive. There's also a mermaid certificate that you can get. So those are all great things to have. They look good on your mermaid resume. Another tip for becoming a professional mermaid is to have your own mersona, which is mermaid persona. Basically your mermaid character, everything about you as a mermaid. So I go by Mermaid Live. I have a whole look, it involves, your outfit, your style, your personality, your mermaid backstory. For example, my character, Mermaid Live, I imagine them as being an ambassador for the merfolk who travels around, becomes a human and travels on land to learn things about the human world, and then comes back to the queen and, you know, teaches them about the human world and stuff like that. Yeah, basically I work for the queen. That's right, everybody. So you have a mersona, you've got experience in your tail, you can swim. You need experience with kids if you're gonna do like kids parties, which is mainly what I do, kids pool parties for birthdays and things. So there's some ways to get experience, such as, you know, babysitting or spending more time with your little relatives. Like I have 17 nieces and nephews. So hanging out with them, you could volunteer at a library or at a school, become a tutor, be in daycare, things like that help you get experience with kids. I got my first experience by doing swim lessons for kids. That was good for getting experience with kids and for, like, you know, working with kids in a pool and stuff. So you've done all that. You need a portfolio if you want to start getting jobs. You need to demonstrate your skills through photos, show that you have experience. So if you've done gigs or you volunteered or done anything mermaidy, or if you have certifications, you want to put that in, like, basically a mermaid resume. If you have any special skills like singing opera, juggling, ribbon dancing, playing an instrument, those are all good things to include into your mermaid resume. They're part of your act, they make you special, you stand out. And for your portfolio, you want to use your best photos. Get a variety of photos, like some of them in nature, maybe by the beach or at a creek or at a swimming pool, with kids, without kids, underwater, above water, different poses. Sometimes you're going to smile, sometimes you're going to look serious and cool. I recommend having a photographer do it, and if you know anyone who is an aspiring photographer, I would have them do a photo shoot with you, because then they get something for their portfolio, you get something for your portfolio. They'll probably charge you a lot less than like an established professional photographer. That's actually how I had all of my photographs taken for any photo shoots that I ever did, was through someone who's trying to get experience. So I recommend that. And then how did I get my first gig? Well, I got my first gig through Facebook. I made a Facebook page for Mermaid Live, and I was basically just posting mermaid pictures and stuff, and someone reached out to me and said they wanted me to do a birthday party. So that was my first gig. It was very exciting. It was a pool party. I totally crushed it, and I felt like all my dreams had come true, and it was magical and fun. And then I got listed on gigsalad.com, which is a great platform for freelance performers, you know, musicians, magicians, mermaids, party princesses. It's a great platform for that. I got a bunch of gigs from there, and then I also got some gig requests from my website, mermaidlive.com. I also was going to recommend you make a website. I made mine through Wix. It's super simple. It's about $40 a month. But I have a blog, an About Me page, a shop, portfolio, and a page that lists my services and prices. You also want to include some good pictures on it, what you do, some contact information. Very, very important. So now I'm going to share some resources with you. So when I was first learning about mermaiding and how to be a professional mermaid, I just watched a lot of YouTube videos. Some of them are Mermaid Kelly, Mermaid Echo, Raina Mermaid, Nerdmaid Faith, Courtney Mermaid, The Magic Crafter. They all have some good videos out there. Raina Mermaid, she actually has a couple books out. I haven't read them, but I still would say they're probably really useful, because she's a like very established professional mermaid. So yeah, I think they're called like Fishy Business, so totally check that out. It's probably got a lot of good stuff in it. I would like to read it. I really would, because I need more mermaid books in my life. Which brings me to today's special unboxing. So this is something that I created, and I just had it printed and shipped to me. This is my first, that's loud. This is my first proof copy, which basically means it can't be resold. They put a big thing across the front that says proof, basically just to see how it looks. And it's definitely, I didn't realize how big it was gonna be. So anyway, I've been excited all day. I was literally sitting at my computer refreshing my emails to wait for the email that said it arrived. So I know it doesn't look great oh, it's upside down. I know it doesn't look great because of the proof bar, but This is my mermaid workbook, the Pro Mermaid workbook. What is it, you ask? It is a very cool resource for aspiring professional mermaids that I came up with. Wow, I'm so excited, honestly. I've been working on this for a little while and I had this goal. I'm turning 31 in less than 2 months and I said I'm gonna publish another thing. I also sell these mermaid journals, but I had this, I'd been working on it, and then it was just kind of sitting in my drafts, you know, in my Canva stuff. And I decided I was gonna get to work on it, really finish it up. So it's basically a training workbook with prompts, like story prompts, questions that kids ask, that there's lines to write down some answers, because kids ask a lot of questions like, are you a real mermaid? Or what do mermaids eat? Do mermaids go to school? How did you get here? I have a little section for kids Q&A. First question, how did you get to this party if you don't have legs? And there's space to write down some answers. And then I give example answers, such as, I rode in on a magic chariot pulled by unicorns. Or, I turned into a human and walked from the ocean. That was a long walk, you know. And then there's, do you have any pets in the, oh no, there's a typo. Shoot. Well, it's a good thing I realized that. I have to fix that. Oops, I guess I didn't double check as good as I thought. And then there's story prompts, quick challenges like introduce yourself to a group, make up some photo poses, flip your fins. Let's see, story prompt, write a story about being captured by pirates. Kids love hearing little stories about the ocean and your mermaid life. Let's see. Then there's this training section, what would you do? Where I share a scenario and you have to write down how you would handle that situation, such as your swimsuit top comes undone. A kid says, you're not a real mermaid. And then we've got journal prompts to help you manifest your magical mermaid career, such as, why do you want to be a professional mermaid? Or write about your ideal mermaid life, and what are your strengths and weaknesses, something about yourself that you are proud of. How do you want a mermaid gig to go? And then at the end, I have some jokes. What did the ocean say to the sun? Nothing, it just waved. Where does a mermaid find a job? The Kelp Wanted ads. And I actually did write a lot of these jokes myself. And then super useful for when you start having gigs is the gig log, so you can keep track. You can write down the date of the gig, and then you kind of do a little evaluation, how it did go, what would you do differently, and what were some highlights, and then there's some notes at the bottom. And then the last section, there's just some blank journal pages to, you know, write down ideas and things you need to do, and just whatever. You can journal about how you feel or what you want to do with your life. So that's the Pro Mermaid workbook. It's currently being reviewed by Amazon, so I will make an announcement when it is hopefully approved. Anyway, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys like these tips. Let me know what you think of my workbook, if you think it's a good idea, if it's something that you would want. I'm really excited about this. Look forward to making more mermaid resources. I'm also writing a book that has to do with being a professional mermaid, so stay tuned for that. I'm not going to say anything else. That is all. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, have a magical day. Bye bye.